Hey guys, so once again, it's really hot and I'm out and about, and this is when I can talk, but I want to go ahead and give you guys a bit more of a health update. I am currently experiencing the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. It's having huge effects on my overall, like, fat burning, body. I don't know what the heck that person was doing. But it's having a lot of effects on all these different things. I'm still experiencing a huge amount of burn off. I've just gone down a size in underwear. I just lost another inch. So over, like, between May and June, I lost like 2 inches off my waist. I lost half an inch at my abdomen, which is where my pants go. So that the pants area is 44.5 inches. The waist is now 40. And so that used to be in May. Mid-May it was 42 at the waist and 45 at the abdomen. So I do experience still a lot of burn-off symptoms, a lot of stuff going on in terms of fat burning. And one of the biggest things that I've been experiencing is a lot of shifts related to serotonin. I have been feeling it, and I've been really researching about serotonin a lot. Just as a reminder, these videos are exploratory in nature, and I kind of develop my theories in these videos and expound upon the research and my experiences and what I've been going through. And something that happened in June is I started getting like these symptoms, like as if I was coming off an SSRI. And one of them was tingling hands, okay? And not just tingling, but like, they call it agitation. And if you guys look up a picture that says serotonin toxicity or whatever, which that's not what I'm saying I had, it was obviously super low or whatever, but there's this picture of agitation and the person's holding their hand like this, and that's kind of what it felt like. It's like it just felt really irritated, and then I kept having to close my hand like this, and then my hand would twitch sometimes. And I had like other symptoms too of like serotonin coming down. Like I actually took my blood pressure this June and it was way lower than it used to be. I was at normal levels for quite a while, but it was still like borderline, and it went down pretty much, like a lot. It went to like 104 over 80 something. I was something like that. My second one was higher for a long time. But, you know, back in December of 2021, my upper number was like 150 or something. Like I was almost to the point where I needed medication, but I was like, I'm gonna just keep going. I think after that winter solstice, I was like, I think it's gonna get better, and it did. It came down. So I was right. I was able to predict it. But basically, my blood pressure is really good. So like the blood pressure was really good. I'm having these weird symptoms. I'm having, like, I had a dissociation episode one time when I was going up the stairs, and I never got brain shocks, but I would get electric shocks in this arm. And so like I would feel it and then it would kind of twitch. And it was really weird. And I was talking to my friend on the phone, and I was like, I promise you, I'm not on an SSRI. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm trying to figure it out. Because I've been noticing these changes to serotonin all year, really since December. That was when it really started to shift. As like my online behavior started changing around that time, like I started getting a lot more embarrassed of stuff that I was doing, my internet schmorn use, I was getting sick of it. I wasn't as into certain things anymore in a, you know, like my tastes were changing and becoming, for lack of a better term, becoming more vanilla. And like all this stuff was changing, particularly in December, and going from December to January to February to March. Like the changes were compounding over the months, and it still has not stopped. Like I said, I was literally getting these symptoms like as if I was coming off an SSRI, you know, a lot of, and I've had like visual snow and stuff really since January of 2022. And so I think this serotonin shifts, like these things have been happening for a long time. I think it just reached a certain point where I could really see it. And everything within weight loss is complicated because your hormones are released with the fat loss, and then it comes back down, and then it releases. Like things are kind of on a cycle. Like I've been on a cycle with my fat loss where the swelling goes up, I bloat up, and then I feel kind of estrogen-y or serotonin-y or whatever, feel kind of depressed, irritated, whatever, sad. I get more serotonin-y now, which is more like a sadness rather than an irritation. And so I get very sad and despondent and these kind of feelings. And then I have diarrhea. It's like pure bile. Sometimes I feel like I'm on Ozempic. I'm not. I promise you I'm not. But the liver like processes whatever and gets rid of it. I think it's probably estrogen, if I had to guess. And then the cycle just kind of continues again. And then it does it again and again and again. And it happens like over about 2 weeks. And that's kind of been what's happening within my fat burning zone. As you guys know, my weight loss is continuing. I'm at about 54 pounds of fat. I've put on about 9 pounds of muscle. Like everything's continuing fine. But I was doing research today because I was really trying hard to understand what the hell happens with serotonin and dopamine in obese people. Because I was thinking that it was that the serotonin was just coming down, but there are these other feelings I have. Like I've been feeling very nauseous. I've been feeling like I don't want to eat all the time. Like I've described that to you guys quite a bit. Like if I overeat now, I feel like I want to throw up. And I get very, very full and like very like my hunger just turns off, or like the food, like if I eat, the desire to eat, it will just leave me really fast, to the point, like I said, where I feel like I could throw up if I overeat. And so I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, am I on Ozempic now without realizing it? Like, what the hell? And I realized that it was probably serotonin. So, because serotonin, as far as a neurotransmitter and as far as how it works in the brain, it's kind of like the no hormone. It's the just say no. So if you feel like, let me break down a situation for you. If you are going to, let's say, a nude beach, and your friend tells you, oh my gosh, you have to take your top off, you have to take your pants off, like, let's go, woohoo, right? And that feeling inside of you that's like, nope, I'm embarrassed, I don't want to do that, I feel ashamed, that is really weird for me, that feels really inappropriate, that feels really socially inappropriate. All those feelings are serotonin related. And they have done studies, and people that have higher levels of serotonin in the brain, they're actually more socially conservative. And so I find that interesting because most people in my family are conservative, and it's probably more genetic. Like I'm definitely more on that side of things. And when I was younger, I had a lot of those feelings of like, this is inappropriate, I don't want to do this, right? Like these kind of things. And I've noticed a lot this year, it came back and it kind of vanished for like a long time, like going on almost 10 years. And so I was just hypothesizing this, and I'm like, I feel like this sort of serotonin thing, it's like weirding me out because it's not just that the serotonin is coming down, it's also coming up. And so I was very confused. And so I did more research, and it turns out that obesity actually affects both sides. It affects dopamine and serotonin. And basically, it makes both of those go down, or both of them are not processed as efficiently. And so I think what happened is last year, when I was acting really crazy online and stuff, I had such a huge need for dopamine. And people feel this, like if you ever go on Twitter and you want to fight with people, that's like a dopamine thing. Like you need dopamine because you get dopamine from fighting with people on Twitter and like doing that kind of stuff. It's like a way to seek a thrill, and it's like how you can kind of get your rocks off in that sense. And so that's, there's also some other things like internet schmorn. There's tons and tons of other things that kind of get dopamine going, like sugar. So eating a lot of like very high carb foods. Like if somebody is really lacking dopamine, they're going to want to do all these things, also things like, I don't know how much I want to say, but certain drugs are dopamine related, right? So there's a lot of drives, like if you aren't getting enough of that, then you're going to want to have some of these behaviors. And I think within obese people, it tends to be a lot of seeking, especially sugar, which is definitely something that I've experienced. And again, I don't believe sugar is a bad thing, but if your serotonin receptors are kind of off, or if your serotonin levels aren't appropriate to match that dopamine, you can eat a lot of calories and never get full or not have that sort of appetite suppression factor. And so I think what's happened over this whole year so far is essentially this. I was doing more research today, and I realized that serotonin reacts differently depending on if it's peripheral or central. So serotonin in the peripheral system or the central nervous system, particularly the brain, it will act completely different, almost completely opposite. So within the peripheral system, it will actually slow your metabolism, and it promotes storage of fat and these kind of things, and it's probably more so anti-thyroid within the peripheral system. In the central system, it's actually more of an appetite suppressant, and if levels are very high, then you develop like social anxiety, and there can be these other factors if it gets too high within the brain. But I think for me, it was very low because there were a lot of times where I didn't have any shame. And it's hard for me to think about at this time just because it does embarrass me, honestly. And it's like, I didn't have this feeling. I didn't have this feeling anymore. And so it's really, really weird. I think that there are so many social factors within serotonin. I think serotonin is probably the social hormone in a lot of ways. And I have so much more to explore, and I hope scientists continue to explore this stuff because I can assure you, like, I feel like a totally different person than I did a year ago. And some of it is kind of scary. And some of it is like, fine, And it's really made me think a lot about my life. And like, I think, ironically, I think my serotonin used to be too high. Like, I think I had too much shame when I was younger, and I was too embarrassed, and I was too this and too that. So I definitely think that there's some kind of relationship there. I wonder if it can be, you can develop serotonin tolerance in the brain or serotonin tolerance in the body or whatever, but it makes sense to me that it's going more from being peripheral to central because I'm having all these withdrawal symptoms in the periphery, like my hands feeling strange sensations and this other stuff. You know, I'm having issues with attention and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. That seems like it would be brain related. But like I said, what I notice mostly that's different is my feelings of disgust, my feelings of shame, my feelings of no, and like nausea and stuff, and like, oh, I'm satisfied. Like, oh gosh, I don't want to eat anymore. All those feelings are much higher. Whereas like the blood pressure, the inhibition of blood flow, like I have more facial flushing, like I get rosy cheeks a lot more, so it's like that blood flow is going more, because serotonin in the periphery causes, I think it's vasosuppression, or, you know, it causes constriction, I guess, basically, of blood vessels. And so it can reduce your blood flow, and that is changing. So I don't really know. It's very confusing and it's very difficult to go through. And I think that a lot of people go through this stuff when they're losing weight, and I just don't think there's as much literature on it. But I hope that they do more. You know, I think it's really fascinating. And I'm really wondering where this is going to go. Like, am I going to have a point where brain serotonin comes back down, or is it going to stay high? You know, like, is it a genetic thing? Did I naturally have it very high just in general? Like, is that just my how I'm supposed to be? I don't know, but I will say, like, when I stopped having shame and I stopped having these feelings, like, I lost my whole reputation. I lost a lot, you know. And before that time, I cared a lot about that stuff. So it's really weird, and it puts my past in a different light. And it makes me question, like, what did I give up for my illness, or what did I learn because of my illness? What did I experience because of this illness? And where do I go from here? And so those are things that I just have to think about, and I may, you know, do a My So-Called Fat Life episode about that, because that's more of an emotional thing. But I'm just wondering, like, what's going to happen if my reputation is restored, or if I start, like, really caring about it again and building it up and, like, doing this stuff. Like, it's just weird. And that might be why I'm having issues with branding and stuff. Like, it's really, really weird. It feels so awkward. Like, the takeaway that I want you guys to take away is, like, if you feel really awkward while you're losing weight, just know that it is probably a part of the process, and you have to just, like, figure it out, you know? I think for me, like, whatever I'm meant to be is what I'm meant to be. And although I never want to go back to, like, only caring about what other people think and, like, this kind of stuff of how I was when I was really young, I do think that it's probably better to consider it a little. You know, I've been so extreme, and I just wonder if the extreme levels of this have to do in some way with obesity, like, you know, being overly concerned or underly concerned, you know. And if it's serotonin tolerance, it could be that too. Like, it could have been that my serotonin was so high that it created a tolerance similar to, like, insulin tolerance or leptin tolerance in obese people. But I just think there's so much research to be done in this area, and I think that this is really important. And I think it's really important for health. And so that's what I've been thinking about a lot. I hope it was interesting. I'm really trying to figure myself out right now, like, on a lot of different levels. But I will say I'm getting a lot healthier. Like, it blew my mind to fit into those underwear today. It just blew my mind. And it's like, I'm fitting into chairs more and that kind of stuff. Like, it's just, I don't know. I could never have anticipated how much this journey would change me. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's been mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. But yeah, I'm going to get back to you guys later. Just remember, this is a lot of hypothesizing. I don't really know 100% for sure, but this is just the research I've been doing and what I've been experiencing, you know. And if any of you guys have lost a lot of weight, let me know. Did you have a moment like this where you had to kind of really reorient yourself socially? Or where you considered your reputation, or just these kind of things? Like, I do feel like they come up in our lives, and I just don't know. It's just weird. It's just really, really weird. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. I would be so interested to hear your guys' stories as well with this, because it's been something I've been experiencing the whole year, and it just kind of keeps getting more intense. So with that, I will go. I will see you guys again soon. I do have some video ideas. I'm feeling a little bit better about YouTube. I'm just trying to be chill about it because, like I said, both from like an image focus and a mental focus, I'm in a bit of a branding nightmare right now. I'm not that good with social stuff, so it's a little bit like I never was the best with it. And so when I'm really hit with these challenges, I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore. Like, I'm very, very socially confused right now. So anyways, you guys, I will talk to you guys later. Have a good rest of your day, night, whatever. See you soon. Bye.